Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Hugo and today we're going to see what's going to be the best stocks for this week. We're going to do a market analysis and also we're going to have a look into my portfolio. And we're going to talk about Cathie Wood's ARK Investments and why the ARK went so low during the past week. So let's have a look. Before we start the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Only 3.9% of my viewers are subscribers and I need your help to reach that 1000 subscribers. So smash that button. Let's get back to the video. So we're starting this week with Chevron, which is one of the stocks that I have also in my portfolio, and I like a lot of Chevron. They have a dividend yield of 5.02%. They pay quarterly, February, May, August, and November. They are undervalued in 24.5%, although in the past weeks the stock has been increased and this undervalue has been reduced as well, but still in a good value to buy, still undervalued. The ex-dividend date is on May 17th. And the financial health, it's 2Gs, which is quite good. They are still quite good in terms of comparing with the mobile, ExxonMobil, for example. They are in much better shape in terms of financial health than ExxonMobil. And the market sentiment, it's a buy. In terms of the earnings forecast for Chevron, it's around 15% per year. Let's see what's going to happen because there was some talks that Chevron is going to buy Exxon or any other company. So let's see if this merge is going to happen or not. I'm still holding just because of that, but not only because I still have around 40% of profit or 60% of profits since I bought the stock, but I'm still holding to see what's going to happen with Chevron. GlaxoSmithKline is one of the stocks that I have on my portfolio as well. They have a dividend yield of 5.94%. They pay quarterly, February, May, August, and November. Bear in mind, this is a UK stock, not US stock, which you don't pay any tax. Comparing to Chevron, which has the same around the same dividend yield, you pay 30%, and on GlaxoSmithKline you won't pay that. They pay quarterly, February, May, August, and November. They are undervalued in 57.6%. This is quite good. The undervalued around 57%. A nice time to buy and to have on your portfolio. The ex-dividend date is on the May 19th, so you have plenty of time to buy. And the financial health, it's a BG/G because they have a difference between liabilities and assets around 2 billion. Although we know that more of the liabilities they have is because of the investment they have done on COVID and other vaccines they are working on. So this is quite normal on this type of sector and on the pharmaceutical sector. The market sentiment is still a hold, and the earnings forecast it's around 12%, 12.7% for the upcoming years. So we still have a good growth there, and the stock is quite undervalued, and I think it's always a good time to buy. The stocks for this week, where the dividend is going to be this week, is going to be Microsoft on the 18th of May with a dividend yield of 0.92%. They actually reduced. The dividend was around 1 point something. And we have also WBA, Walgreens Boots Alliance. I actually sold, I tend to sell a bit of Walgreens, not the entire open orders that I have, but at least like 20% of the Walgreens and get a profit around 60% or 65% on the upcoming days. Let's see what's going to happen. The dividend yield is at 3.53% and the ex-dividend date is on the 20th of May. Unilever is also one of the bridge stocks that I have on my portfolio. Had a big growth in the past weeks. They have a dividend yield of 3.49% and the ex-dividend date is only on the 20th of May, which you have plenty of time to buy it as well. This is not the highest dividend yield, but it's a UK dividend yield, which in comparison is much higher than any US stocks because you won't pay the 30% of tax. ARK tumbled this week because we had a sell-off on the big techs and more on the growth stocks. The growth stocks were quite impacted, and we're going to see this on the few graphs that I'm going to show you right now. As you can see, ARK suffered a big drop in the past month, around more than 20%, more than 20%. I actually have done some averaging during the week, and has caused a big impact on my portfolio as well. As you know, ARK, the majority is composed by Tesla, Square, Teladoc, and Roku. They didn't went so low because of Roku had a big increase on the past few days. But the majority and what suffered actually was Tesla push this ETF quite down. As you can see here on Tesla, we had a drop around the 20% as well. We had a drop as well on Square. We had a drop on Teladoc Health, and we had also a drop on Roku, but Roku had an increase here, which has saved ARK from going so low. This is going to increase in the next upcoming months or so, but this had a big impact because of the sell-off that we had on the big growth stocks. Like this, we had also Palantir, which had suffered a lot in the past week. So in conclusion, everything that was related to growth stocks, and this innovation ETF is also going to have a big impact on that. If you have afraid of invest on this kind of ETFs, if I were you, I'll step away from any kind of ARK Invest and maybe go more to Berkshire Hathaway, which are more stable than actually any ARK investment ETF. But when we were investing on this and its innovation, we need to have in consideration this stock can go down on the next day, and this was what happened. So we had a sell-off, and this caused the ETF to go down rapidly. This is something that we need to have in consideration, is when we buy an ETF to know what are supporting those ETFs. The majority, in this case, it's Tesla. Tesla went down quite a lot. They are stocks that are overvalued for a long time. Tesla has been going down, but still overvalued. They are around the $300 mark, and the stock is still at 600, and I'm thinking they go down. The same thing goes to Spotify, Roku, and any other stocks that we have here. All of them are overvalued in the past year, around 20% or more. So this is quite normal that this ETF had suffer this decline. So now let's do a market analysis on the Bitcoin and also on the SP500 and see what's going to happen this week. This actually was a post that you can see on the screen, was a post that I've done on Twitter and on the eToro last week, predicting what's going to happen. So we had the bounce on the stock. If it's going to be for the longer term or not, let's have a look and see what's going to happen. So we are seeing now the SP500 in an interval of 1 hour, and when we see here, I've just traced a line here on the top drops, and every single time that we had a big drop, as I've marked here, we had a bull market afterwards. So here probably is going to happen the same thing. We have exactly the same tendency around here. If we're going to overcome this average, this is the average that we have at the moment. I do think so, and probably we're going to move forward to another breakout around this value, around the 4,300K. Let's see what's going to happen during this week. I'm thinking positive that we're going moving forward to a really positive month, and this shows us that we're going to have a growth on the next upcoming days. In terms of BTC, there was a phenomenon of Dogecoin, which the majority of the people sold BTC in order to buy Doge, and we had a shift from the big two coins from Ethereum and Bitcoin, and move into the altcoins like Doge or other as well, which had increased around 8% in the past few days. Saturday and Friday had a big increase. I do think that Bitcoin is going to increase in the next days, as well the tendency of the markets. Bear in mind that they are a bit in line. When the SP500 goes down, the BTC also goes down. We had that seen here in this around this. We saw this in around this week, and having in consideration that the market is going up, I do believe that the BTC is going to help as well towards the 60K. We are here confirming our supports. Let's see what's going to happen on Monday and Tuesday. but I think we add here a big support, so confirming support, and probably going up, and probably going to start to see a bull market in upcoming days. So if I move this to 1 hour, we do have here the confirmation of the supports, and now we're going to move forward to a bull market in the next upcoming days. Probably today, if you don't have any BTC, or if you want to, or if you are negative on BTC, this is a good time to buy. I don't think we're going to fall under the 47k. That's going to be quite low. I think we have here a good confirmation that we're going to be above the 47, and now is going to be the tendency to go up on the next upcoming days, depending also on the market, and hoping that Elon Musk doesn't say anything on the Twitter about Dodge, because it's going to crash this as well. Anyway, if you want to copy all my trades, you can do it by going to the eToro and search for my nickname Knight, and you can start copying all my trades. Bear in mind that when you do a copy, you always copying at the time that the stock was bought, not the time that I bought it. So this is something that you need to have in consideration. And if you're going to buy on the highs, this can be problematic for you, because you may lose money, or you may have negative equity in the next days until they reach another point. So don't forget to have a look. The portfolio performance for this week, we have a market around minus 2.8%. My portfolio outperformed the market in around 2%, or more actually than around 2%, but still negative in 0.66% comparing to the last week. We had, since inception, we had a growth of around 18.47%. Last week we had a growth around 20%, and this was affected because of the market went down, and we had a big impact on the Bitcoin, also Palantir and ARK, that affected my portfolio the past week. That's why you're going to see more towards the end of the video why I did so many averaging on those stocks. The top 5 stocks were Energy Transfer with 8.48%. Bear in mind the stock, the ex-dividend that was last week, so that's normal that they went up. The infra, or the ETF AMZA, had an increase of 3.10%. This is a monthly ETF, which is quite good and pay really high dividends. Pfizer had an increase of around 2.32%. Palantir Technologies had an increase of 1.67%, but this is nothing comparing to the drop they had, was around 16% or almost 20%. GlaxoSmithKline had an increase around 1.09%, and the ex-dividend is going to be this week as well, so that's why they had an increase. Usually when this happens, they're having a small increase. For other performance indicators and actions, we had the payment of AGNC, we had new acquisitions of Disney and Amazon. I wanted to buy more Disney and more Amazon. They went down around 6% each, and it was a nice time to buy. In the past weeks they had like increase of 1% or something, so this was a big drop, and I thought that was a nice time to buy. Open orders, I still have Intel, ARK, Disney and Palantir. They are still under around minus 5%. Usually what I do is when it's reach a point of minus 5% or minus 10%, I intend to do average. So that's why I still have some open orders for these stocks. In terms of closing orders, I had XLE, but I didn't sell everything. I just sell a small portion, and PFG as well. I sold a small portion to get the balance, so I could do an average on those stocks that were more affected with a drop. And I think it was a really good strategy, where we got around 65% of profits on the PFG and around 55% of profit on XLE. And that money was invested on the average that I've done, which was Intel, Disney, Palantir and ARK. The top pairs is still AT. The top dividend yield is still Realm with a 14.46%, and my portfolio is still undervalued, so we had here an increase around 1% from last week, from 40 something to 41.9%. And the portfolio future growth had a decrease from around 14% or so to 8.4. I don't know what happened here. Actually, probably was because of most of the earnings reports that we had. coming out the past week had reduced the growth of and the expectation growth of some companies, and that's why my portfolio was highly affected with that, especially with the growth stocks that were actually really affected. In terms of the stock with high volatility, it's Main at the moment, and the lowest volatility is still ULVR.L. So now let's look this into the spreadsheet. So if you're seeing the spreadsheet for the first time, I have a link on the description where you can follow, and I update this every single Friday, usually after the market close, and I put here what happened during that week. So here we can see that we had a payment of AG and C, so all this are already paid. This was only during that week. We had here XLE, which we sold a bit, so this was affected the number of stocks that I have in the portfolio. The PFG as well, and the stocks that we have done average was Intel, ARK, Disney, and Palantir that we had increased, and these values have changed as well. So if you want to copy me, you can use this spreadsheet to simulate your copies, and you can see how much you're going to receive per month here and per year with $1,000 investments. Of course, you can put less, 500, but then some shares may not be copied, or even some trades may not be copied because of the small amount that you've put it. I really recommend you to put around $1,000, which is the minimum, so all the trades that I have on my portfolio will be copied as well. Once again, I hope you enjoy these tips for this week. Don't forget with the subscribe button and the like. And if you want to leave a comment, please do it. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. And once again, guys, thank you and cheers. Have a nice week.